How are you guys doing today?
Good,
Hi.
thanks. Hi.
It's good.
How do you feel that these characters are different from or similar to the kinds of roles that you've played in the past? Do you feel like there are departures for you?
Oh, well, for myself, I think Lucy Farinelli Watson has some crossover between my personal lived experiences. Like she was sort of raised between the Commonwealth of Virginia and what you don't really know in from the books in Florida, but I was raised in North Carolina. There's a very like interesting nuance about being raised in southern states. Um, and also the nuance of Lucy is she's being raised by white women. Like just to not to put too fine a point on it, she's a beautiful brown child, and she was raised surrounded by Italian origin white women. Um, and I was raised by my very glorious white family. So, and I think there's real nuance that comes with that. I was not raised quite as affluent as I think Lucy was, but it's the closest thing that I've ever taken on that is near to my own personal circumstances, put it that way. So I'm very careful about separation of church and state as to how much I give Lucy, put it that way.
Yeah, and I would say what I loved about the character is his deep sense of loyalty to
Hmm.
um to Kay, and the importance of that relationship to him while doing a job that is pretty gruesome. I think it like falls outside of like regular detective work, the kind of things that he's gotten to do with her. Um, the fact that she's his sort of partner is unusual because she's a medical examiner. And that they would go out on these cases and try to solve these cases together really required a true deep sense of loyalty and respect. And I really liked playing that. That's something really active you could play, and to get to play it with an actor as esteemed as Nicole is, well, that's always what attracts me to any kind of part, right? Like, who am I working with? And so that made it really fun to come to work every day because most of my scenes are with her.
Where were you during filming of the earlier timeline and what was happening there? Did that affect a lot of your performance?
Oh.
Sorry, just repeat the beginning of it because you were cut off.
Sorry, how aware were you of the earlier timeline and what was happening during
Oh
that
yeah,
and how did that affect your performances?
yeah. You know what? We got all the scripts early, right? Liz Sarnoff really made it a point that we would know what was happening. It's kind of impossible to be able to know to play those scenes without knowing what came before. So, we had to be let in on the so-called secrets, and keep it close to the vest. And that's where all this tension really comes from when they're in that car together, is that they're holding on to this thing that they don't talk about. They just sort of intimate, and the audience is wondering, hopefully, what happened. But holding on to that tension and holding on to that secret was something that I think for Nicole and I, we talked about a lot, really keeping that thing alive and
Mm.
really crackling for us.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was definitely like he said, we all got the scripts early. Thank you, Liz Sarnoff. I was very aware of my little one. She's absolutely gorgeous. And the biggest thing that I wanted to try and just track was, at least for Lucy, I kept asking myself the question, what is the difference between being loved and being seen? Because again, nuance. And I just did my best to when I got to see her on set, just know that she was appreciated, and I was really proud of her, and like I thanked her for getting Lucy this far so that I could take her the rest of the way. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both.
Yeah.
Thank you.